since you took on this journey where you kind of knew that you are going to be breaking, certain barriers and gender stereotypes. What do you think, whether you have achieved what you set out to achieve, and are you happy to be where you are today?
I remember thinking and pondering about what is important in life, right? So we all are brought up with certain values, and I knew that it was important for me to kind of also find my own path. But deep down, I knew that success is not always measured in terms of title, money, or fame. And I think this is a sort of a legacy I have seen from my parents. It's the values that have been passed on to me. I seen my dad help a lot of people. I feel that they give back a lot. I'm from the Sikh community, and we believe in the concept of seva and giving a lot back to the community. So for me, that was really important to be able to kind of make a difference. So when you leave a particular industry or you finish your career, what is it that you've left behind? And I think that's the kind of ideology I've come with. And I think that was the best ambition for me, to find something that I wanted to do to change the world. And I think for me, it's been about identifying gaps where I felt that things are not happening properly, their improvements should be done. Um, so for me, I found my calling in driving change within the maritime industry. And it happened quite by coincidence. It didn't happen that I planned, okay, one day I'm going to advocate for diversity. I was just another young woman who entered the maritime industry and saw no woman around her, being the only woman in meetings and gatherings. And I soon saw that there was a need for somebody to do something to change things. I was always in the corner of the room, standing there, the only woman in a room, and the meeting was being conducted, and people simply addressed the meeting as gentlemen, even though there was a woman in the room. Slowly grew into the position where I became the go-to person to come to a maritime. And I've never had ambitions of being a big something or changing, or kind of having a big title. But I think that today I am in that unique position, and I'm very grateful to God that I'm in a position where I'm able to drive that change and people are listening. And I think that's where I wanted to be. I want to be able to make sure that we're able to make the industry a more welcoming place for at least the women who come after us. So that, I think, has been the most satisfying part of my journey. Irrespective of what we do with our work life, I think this is what's most important. What legacy do we leave behind? What do we make sure to do that the women coming after us have an easier time than us? We had a difficult time when we started. It was difficult. We faced all sorts of biases. Are we widening the road for women coming after us? And I think that is the biggest satisfaction. And I think that's the biggest driver for me today, is that I feel that I've been able to achieve that. And even though I feel there's a long way to go, but we're on the right path. And I believe that if everybody kind of really follows their heart or follows their passion, together we can really change not only the industry, but we can really change the world for a better place.
I was in my 7th standard when I got attracted towards Navy. Let me say Indian Navy. I used to watch a television show, Arohan, which was about 3 girls who, they joined the Indian Navy and how their training goes and what kind of difficulties they were facing, and exactly the mindset of people around also in the training institutes. I was like, oh, this is the place where I want to be, and I want to show them that how are they showing that the girls are not able to do so. And then by the time I came, my parents used to think I'm just joking around, especially my dad. So it was never kind of, okay, go in defense. And no, the support, I will not say he has supported it, but at the same time, he has never ever stopped me. So I got to know that if I'm giving my exams, SSB, SSC has to be done. It could be, I could just, I do not have to give a written exam if I have an NCC certificate. So I joined the NCC and then started doing the camps. And my school didn't have a Navy branch of it. And I'm like, where to go? And anywhere, if I would see that white uniform, I would just run to the person to get to know more about it. However, by the time I reached on 10th, I was told my dad, like, it was his achievement, most probably, when he came and said to me, Indian Navy, you cannot join Indian Navy because NDA do not permit girls. I'm like, what are you talking about? How is it possible? No, in Indian Navy, girls are not allowed. NDAs are only for boys. After 12th, ND Academy is only taking boys. I'm like, what the hell is about it? I started searching for it and then got to know, okay, maybe after the graduation. And for the graduation, then you have to be a graduate. So I started studying mathematics, science. So for me, since beginning, my career is planned by somebody else. It has nothing to do with what I wanted or what I was thinking about. My taking up of the branch of PCM, studying mathematics, going into science was all about Navy, 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 Indian Navy, Indian Navy, Indian Navy. By the time I reached 12th, I gave all the engineering exams, the entrance exams. I got myself selected in IT Bhopal. I was doing mechanical engineering there. At the same time, I also qualified for IIT screening, and on the basis of IIT mains ranking, SCI sent us a call letter. It reached home, my dad got it, and it was never handed over to me. It was hidden somewhere. One fine day, I was really very with heavy heart. I came back after and my mom, just to cheer me up, handed over that letter to me, and I'm like, that is it. I do not want to go anywhere. Till that date, I had no idea what merchant navy is all about. It just had that word navy, and I'm like, I need to be at this place. I need to be at this place. So many calls to so many people. I could not gather the information about what merchant navy is everything about. I went for the interview. During our briefing, we were told, you will belong to the first batch of girls of SCI. I'm like, really? And that heartbreaking thing which I felt in 10th standard, that there have been no girls in Indian Navy. I'm like, no, I cannot let go this chance. This is the chance where I could make up the change. And if it involves leaving my mechanical engineering, of course, yes. It was a big decision to leave an NIT. And for my parents to make them believe, although I had my mom have been a police officer in police headquarters Bhopal, that have been retired from Reserve Bank India. I have an elder brother, an elder sister, and everyone have been, into their own field. One is a doctor, one is an engineer. Somewhere out of the blue moon, I was into defense. And that was, no, this is not a place, beta. You will not have a social life. A girl from Bhopal, 18 years old girl, who knows what a social life is all about, especially when you are giving for about your entrance exams, etc. So it did not. I landed up at MTI, and it was a life-changing moment, I would say, because so far you have not seen anybody talking or even mentioning it that girls can do this and girls cannot do that, and this is for boys and this is not. You are in the institute and everything is just happening about the girls and the boys and the girls and the boys and the girls and the boys. You have never seen that around. You feel, are you doing the right thing? And there where the driving force was coming. What is so different that we are not able to do? Why is it even a thought process for somebody that we cannot be a part of merchant navy? What is a different kind of job which is supposed to be in a male dominated industry, and why is women yet not reached there? And that continued for 4 months. We completed our training, and by July 2003, I landed up. We all three landed up on our first ship. The moment I landed up on the ship, and there was a stroke. So now, what are you doing here? What is it all about? Then, met our chief officer. Slowly, steadily, you got to know where you have gone, where you have reached. And there have been never, ever statement. Everybody has been saying that it is going to be difficult for you. It is going to be difficult for you. It is going to be difficult for you. But nobody is actually trying to explain you what difficulties you are going to face. Right? You reach there, and instead of the difficulties, you get the shock of your life that you have to deal with the mentality. It is not the work which was difficult. You are exactly doing whatever you were doing, whatever others are doing, and you are very much capable of it. You have all that knowledge, all the competence. However, still questions was the same. How is it possible? Why they could not be here and they could not be there? The girls I'm talking about. So every step, it is just, I will seriously say, it is all about the mentality that I was blocking. No, this can happen, take this. This can happen, take this. And there where the procedure and all started, I still tell you this. I mean, I've never said that before, but every ship that I've joined, I have felt to get back home. I do not want to be here. I do not want to be here. However, that heartbreak of mine of Indian Navy always struck back that, Sneha, if not you, then probably maybe nobody else. So if you've got the opportunity to change something, as take it up and change wherever you can. Change wherever you can. Yeah, that was about me.
I think the question is very clear that have you achieved what you set out to achieve and are happy to be where you are? So I think let us discuss the beginning of the journey. So when I started in the Indian merchant marine context, there were no women officers who were holding certificate of competencies. And I mean, today, I think somewhere around 3,000 is the figures that is the number of Indian women officers. I mean, some are sailing, some are ashore, but I think roughly that is the figure. So I think that volume and the number speaks for itself that, yes, at least definitely the journey that I had started and subsequent few years down the line, I wasn't sure whether this legacy would continue. And today it's 2022 and we have the numbers with us. So I think I have achieved what I really wanted to achieve. Definitely in all spheres of life, there are some regrets, there are some yet to be achieved things, and we always have to deal with that. But yes, I mean, there is definitely so much that the Merchant Navy has taught me, and I mean, it's a different perspective, it's a different world because the dynamics are so different here. And as Suneha very correctly stated, I mean, this is something that I always keep telling, more than the work and the technical know-how, it was dealing with the mindset, which was the greatest challenge of them.
So let's move on to the next question, where it's about your personal experiences. So could you share a couple of experiences or anecdotes which are kind of positive and celebratory from your work life?
So I think there's this, one of my most special experiences was, this was my first board meeting at the World Maritime University around 5 or 6 years back. And I was there for the first time in Malmo, Sweden for the welcome dinner. And I walked in and as you know, the president of the World Maritime University is a woman. Her name is Dr. Cleopatra Dumbia Henry, with an illustrious career behind her. And I entered the room and there were obviously people much senior to me in age and stature. And she announced to everyone, and I was feeling a little bit nervous. There were people 15 years senior for me, different parts of the globe. And she said, "Aren't we lucky to have Sanjam with us on the board?" And that was such a positive feeling. And immediately I felt at ease. And, there are women like that who I believe has really carried me along, who have kind of made me feel that I can do it, reach out for the stars. That was a very, very positive moment because for that, at that particular time, I felt much at ease and I felt that I was accepted. There are a couple of other incidents that have happened. So there are some funny instances as well. For example, I went for a client meeting and we were waiting in the office and they came in and I asked them, "What are we waiting for?" They said, "No, we're waiting for your boss to come." So I said, "No, the meeting is with me." But they were very good natured about it. But I think also that there was one incident when my son was small. My son is now 14 and a half. But when he was a baby and I wanted to get back to work, I decided to just take him with me everywhere I went. So I took him to client meetings, I took him to conferences, and everybody in the industry knew that Sanjam has a baby who comes to work. So if you call her office and there's a screaming baby in the background, it's okay, it's just normal. And I thought that this was, very normal for me. But looking at me, I saw that there were a couple of girls also in similar situations. And when they had kids, they decided to do exactly what I did. And knowing that I kind of made it easier for them also to kind of join their family business. I know this one woman who has a brother, and when she got married, her father told her, now you're married, you cannot join the family, continue to work with us. And so she appealed to him and she cited my example and said, "But what about Sanjam? She's still working for her father, so that shouldn't make a difference." Then there was a girl who had a baby, and again, she had to convince her parents or in-laws that I can do justice, and she gave that example. So knowing those are those positive anecdotes, and I think we women do we play a very important role in pulling each other up. So for me, those positive experiences where other women have chosen to pull me up. And I feel that we have to kind of keep passing that on. The kindness that was done to us, we have to make sure that that's a chain of people reaching out to us. There was a girl in Trinidad and Tobago who was very badly harassed on a ship. And we took her case right up to the International Chamber of Shipping. There was no evidence found in the end, but I think that we took solace in the fact that we were able to kind of even make sure that her voice was heard. And sometimes, yes, justice is not done, but those positive experiences and knowing that we are there for each other, women across the globe, across cultures, it doesn't matter the color of your skin if you're speaking a different language. I think those are the positive experiences in my life, and those are the things that really, really make me smile when I look back today.
Thank you. Sanjay, I know about this, and I somehow feel very, very happy after, especially knowing that, the kids can be taken to the work. Okay. For me, the first positive experience where I felt that I am doing something good was when I was being selected as one of the 100 Women Achievers of India, and we were being called to Rashtrapati Bhavan for a luncheon with the President of India. We are 100 women, and when we were being told that, okay, this is the whole format and this is how it was selected, and this is the reason. So the reason for me to be selected for women empowerment was that I was the only Indian woman with sailing for the Japanese fleet at that time, and probably even the only Indian woman who could into the deck officer side to reach up the foreign shipping company. How it all started was, I was a second mate. I cleared my second mates. All my batchmates are going and joining foreign companies. And wherever I'm applying, literally, I was asked, is it for your brother? Is it for your husband? I'm like, no, it is for me. And they're like, sorry, ma'am, we don't recruit girls. I'm like, why don't you put that in your advertisement? They're like, ma'am, we will try to. I'm like, yeah, you better do so. And then the struggle was there as a third mate, as a second mate, as a mate. You are struggling to find up a company who want to take up a deck officer. Engineers who have been taken, they were, from the training institutes, they were being campus selected into the best of the companies, but deck officers, no, it was not happening. And I got the breakthrough with NYK Japan. It was, I was too happy. I was really very happy. And my, SCI, I will say my parent company from where I've been born and brought up and trained, and whatever I am is because of the best of their training. I was discussing it with those officers at posting officers and, the seniors at office. They are like, are you sure you want to be going to NYK? Because you will be lined up for promotion and you'll be promoted in next 2 years. I'm like, no, again, if I don't go there, then who would? I'm getting up a chance for the Indian women to be going into a foreign company. You should. And that's how I took that step. I literally let go of my promotion to get into a foreign company. And then when I was explaining this, like we were being asked to tell about your profession and for what part of women empowerment you have been given 100 Women Achievers, I told them I belong to Merchant Navy. And trust me, they were having no idea of what Merchant Navy is. So where is your posting like? I'm like, no, we are not being posted. Sir, again, I'm not in Indian Navy. I'm in Merchant Navy. What is better Merchant Navy? Then you explain, sir, the chairs which you are sitting on, the petrol that you use, it is coming by the ships and the ship has been driven by us. So yeah, I stay on the ship. You stay for those six months. Or we are not aware of any women like that. Like, yeah, it is so. So there, when you were explaining your profession, then you realize that the struggles that you were going through is not a waste. There are people who were waiting for it most probably, and it gives you that peace. Whatever struggles that you have been through, was required to make you reach at that position. The second incident was when I got my command. I got my command, and the way my whole ship and the officers have, and the celebration that they have made for me, it is heart touching, and I feel I have no words to express that. The little gifts to the little sweets that were being prepared, the whole team, trust me, ma'am, the whole team has given their heart to let me feel that, you are getting something which you have been looking forward to. So the promotion place is one very, very, very close to my heart. And then, of course, uh, commanding the in all women officership for India. This is, it goes nowhere. When I was asked that, would you be a part of it? And I'm like, it's a dream come true. And why should I not be? From bringing up being a cadet for STI to take up a ship with all women officers. It was one statement very clear. We women have to prove nothing to anybody. We are here to rule and we will. Not that we are taking away anything from anybody, but the apprehensions which was been all around this industry about male dominated, male dominated, male dominated, because we allowed it to be male dominated. It is, you need to make your presence felt, your voice needs to be heard. And how you can make them hear is to be present there. There are people who would silence you down. No, you should not be saying this. You should be talking like this. Your voice should be like this. You could be polite like this. And no, I still say, make up your voice. As Sanjam said, your voice has to be, that peace which comes when you take up the voice somewhere high and do not silence it. It really makes up a difference. People still, for any of the incidences that, there are incidences, untoward incidences, you cannot avoid it. Not only in this industry, in any industry, I would say. So when you are going and making up a complaint, it's like, don't do that. Don't do that. It might affect. And the whole process, when you are being made to silence, your mental peace gets so much disturbed. It gets so much disturbed that one fine day when I decided, no, I need to make up this complaint. And when I made up this complaint, I'm like, whatsoever should happen, I will not be keeping myself at one corner of the room just for somebody else's happiness. I still say that was the best decision I've ever taken. That once you speak up, once you are right at your place, you get that confidence that you were never wrong. That solace which is there is it stays for long. It stays for long, and it just brings you up as it develops your personality into a place where you are then not looking for anybody's approval, but for your own peace and for the own, the passion for your own work, and that matters the most.
Yeah, it was so wonderful listening to Sanjam and Sneha and about their yay moments and like life is like that and we have so many of them and I think this time may fall short, particularly if you are taking the path which has been walked less and traveled less. Every day kind of is a new challenge and if you're able to overcome those challenges, so it's a new achievement every day that you have. But I think when I look really back, I mean, professional challenges definitely were there, but if I look at the moment, how I joined Merchant Navy, I think I would really want to recall that as one of the best moments and the eureka moments of my life, because like any other 12th standard girl, I was also like quite inquisitive about, what the various career options that we could have at that point of time. And I did not come from a typical merchant marine family. Not like fathers are, engineers and captains and all that stuff. But I definitely had a relative who was he was a master mariner and he was sailing for, I think, TIN at that point of time. So he used to keep me telling the stories about his voyages and all. And I managed to crack the IIT joint entrance examination. And one thing was very clear that I didn't want to become a 9 to 5 kind of an, desktop engineer. So I was still looking out for options, like how I can break through from this and not get stuck there. So that was when I applied for this Rajendra and this MERI. That time it was a combined selection. I think it still is. And I had applied. So my dad did not intervene much. He said, okay, you want to apply? That's okay. We'll cross the bridge when it comes. And eventually when my name was selected for that, I was like, maybe this is what I wanted. And that was the time when all my relatives, family, friends, everybody was like, you can't be serious about this. I mean, this is definitely not a step that a woman should definitely opt for. It is going to be very tough. And somehow from my childhood, I had this in me that whenever people tell me, you can't do something, I think I'll put in all my effort just to prove that, I ensure that I do that. So I think that was a propelling force that prompted me to join GMET, and I think that was one of the greatest moments of my life. And next came when I was selected by Mobile. Why it was a great moment, I will tell you, because it was happening in India for the first time. Selecting somebody, of course, like you join as a trainee is one step. Then next step would be like you take over of your watches, independent watchkeeping, and that ship would be handed over to you. And in India, it had not happened till that time. Have trying to have women as engineers and all. So I was honestly not really expecting that there would be promising employers who would want to still employ women on board their ships. And when I managed to crack the interview and the joining process, it was like, there is something called, if you believe and if you do some good work, it gets reflected somewhere, and there is somebody to take notice of that. And I think being a very gender diverse organization, I don't think, there is anything that I really have to look at.
So do you think between the three of you, and of course there are probably many more who are now in the industry, but have you had examples in front of you who have taken inspiration from you to join this industry? I mean, either, especially sailing, I would say, but could be both on land and at sea. Have you personally inspired anyone? Have you seen anyone drawing inspiration?
Can I answer that?
Yes.
So I think since I joined, I wouldn't say, I would say, in fact, the moment, in fact, when I joined college, Merchant Marine College, the training itself was a very rigorous one at that point of time. So that point, like we were a batch of total 81 girl and the remaining 79 boys. And like towards the end of the 4 years, now I remember some of the boys told me, they used to be rigorous ragging. We had to attend fall-ins. There was rigorous PT, and it was like a typical all boys setup in which I was the only girl trying to accommodate at all corners, trying to meet all everything. And some of the boys towards the end of the 4th year, they told me that, Sonali, maybe we would have, and some of the boys did leave, we would have quit the training in the first 2 to 3 months. But then every time we thought of quitting, we thought that if Sonali can endure that, then why can't we? And why do we really have to think of quitting? So that was during the training period. Of course, since then, every day I think there are girls that I meet and girls and boys that, who come to us for some kind of counseling. And we do that and we keep inspiring. And we hope that the numbers would increase in a short span of time. Thank you.
Yeah. Sanjam or Suneha, do you have anything to say on that?
Sanjam, you take. I'll take after you.
Okay, so this is like really something close to my heart. I have a young girl coming to meet me at 6:45. She's this young seafarer from out of town, and this is quite often it happens that people reach out to me, and we try to make those connections. And she's coming to meet me, and I told her, I have this event till 6:30, and they reach out to me on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, on any sort of social media, and I think that's something that I love doing. And recently, I realized that because I have been mentoring so many young people, I wanted to see their career path. So I've of late started telling all the young people I'm in touch with that please be in touch with me. And it's really heartening to see somebody that you have mentored, to see that how far they have reached in their careers today, because that is the future of the maritime industry, right? And we have to make sure how we were mentored, or maybe some certain parts were what we didn't get at our time. We were not handheld at our time. And it's so important that we handhold these young women. So, and I would like to tell you that I mentor young girls and boys both, because I believe that we cannot discriminate. And I have these wonderful team of young people in touch with me. And not only do I mentor them, but I think I learn so much from them, because the industry today is being disrupted and it's changing so rapidly. The future of the industry is AI, it's to do with tech. And who's going to disrupt the industry? It's the innovators. It's these next generation of people. So yes, I think I feel very happy and blessed when sometimes these I get a call and they say, you know, I'm sailing here and I'm in this country and I'm thinking of you and thank you for being there for me. And it's not with boys and girls just in India, but it's all across the world. I've just had right now somebody write to me on LinkedIn and saying, can you mentor me? And I sent her a text back. So I think it's very heartening to see that yes, and we should be using our position to help others, right? That's what I said. Widening the road is so important. And of course, one of my biggest regrets, because my dad's a master mariner, is at my time, nobody really even told me that I could consider a career there. It was not encouraged. So that's one of my biggest regrets. And that's why I have a huge amount of respect for Sonali and Suneha and all the women who has chosen seafaring as this career, because it's extremely difficult. And I think all that we can do is kind of making sure that we have their back. And that's what I tell all the women out there. Don't worry, I have your back. You've got this.
Lovely, lovely to hear that, and all the lovely work that you are doing through your Maritime CEO, Sanjam. So I think that brings us to the most important question, I think, because that is what is going to be kind of the deciding kind of factor for the young generation to take up this as a career. What steps and measures do you think, or rather, are being taken by the industry in order to make the maritime industry not only safe but inclusive and also diverse and gender neutral, so that more and more women can get attracted towards this industry? So, if you have been working on anything in terms of bringing about that change, or whatever steps are required to kind of be able to achieve this, to attract more women to the maritime industry. Sonali, since you have to leave, if you would like to take this question first, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Anita. I mean, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I have been in the industry for maybe more than the last 2 decades, and we have to understand that there is no change that can happen overnight. If we really want to see the change happening, we first have to be the change ourselves, and we have to believe in that. So I think this process of change starts from your house directly. I remember my mother always treating me at par with my brother, and never discriminating between, giving us opportunities, or for that matter, anything in life. So I think those values were ingrained in me when I started my journey. And I think I would really want to spread out this message that to all parents who have daughters, and you would really want your daughters, they don't, treat them, don't give them a bed of roses only. Let them be a very hands-on person. Let them learn how to deal with eventualities in life. Don't make them fragile and too delicate. Pampering is very important, but it's at the same time, it is very important how we condition our daughters. Definitely, we have to, teach our sons a lot of it, but all parents, they have to, since the focus has to be, that the daughter is going to enter a very competitive world. And it's not just competitive. She's not going to get everything laid on a platter. There will be days when she has to fight for it, and you must teach her how to be a fighter right from the beginning. She should not be frail. She should not be fragile. She must do whatever is required to achieve whatever are her dreams. That is very important. And regarding the numbers in the industry, we can achieve a gender diverse industry once we start having the numbers, but then the numbers are likely to increase at a slow pace, which we all have seen. I mean, it is not something that we are going to achieve overnight, but then definitely there are a lot of organizations, the IMO, the flag state, they're all doing a lot of work to be able to create visibility, to give recognition to the women in the industry, to women who have done so well, like Suneha, Sanjam. And once they have role models like that, we are sure we can start having more women joining the industry. And that is how we can achieve a more inclusive. And I think once we start having more numbers, the whole idea of how the industry perceives women is likely to change. It's just a matter of time, and the efforts are in the right direction. That is what I can see. And maybe over a period of time, we will definitely see a lot of change in the industry, and the workplace would be a very conducive place for women to serve. Thank you.
There's a question for you, Sonali, from Admiral Rao here. He wants to know, engineers have to get their hands dirty. How did this affect you?
Yeah, so that was exactly the point that I was trying to make when I said that, your daughters should also be very hands-on. Like you can teach her how to drive a car, but at the same time, it's important that you teach her how to fix a flat tire. In the middle of a road, it's not that she should look for somebody to come and help her out, and she should be self-reliant. So these kind of teaching that has to go into a daughter's mind, that she has to be self-reliant. And I think that came to me pretty late when I joined the ship, or maybe in fact when I was in college only, it was told to us all the time that as engineers we'll have to dirty our hand. And I think we took it in our stride. It is just a part of the job. So you don't really have to look at it, your hands are getting dirty or the boiler suit's getting dirty. It's the demand of the job. And these were the stepping stones to something which you're going to reach out in the future. Building blocks. So yeah, I mean, it just happened very naturally. The institutes, the seniors, everybody, they kind of ingrain those things into you. That this is a part of your journey. And the sooner you accept, the better it is.
Thank you, Sonali, so much
for
wonderfully answering that question. And so over to either Suneha or Sanjam to answer that question.
Yeah, okay. So I guess it was about the industry, the steps that are required to be taken by industry. I'll just really make it very short. There is nothing so special about it. We are only looking for the opportunities. Stop blocking the ways. That is the only request from the entire industry. There is nothing so special about the whole work that a women cannot do. They are not expected to take a 400 kgs load over their head and move around. Neither is a male expected nor is a female expected. So whatever is the competence and skills required, you are getting that training, and you please let that opportunities flow. Not the name of culture and this doesn't happen in our family, or that doesn't happen in this industry, or not in front of us. You are lacking. You might have not seen, but the world has not stopped. So if there is an opportunity, let it come. Let it come. And I strongly believe training is required, not only to females, but also to males. To females, it is very simple. I will not say do not see yourself as a female, but the statement goes to both the genders equally. That merchant navy is not, being at sea is not as easy or as wonderfully projected outside. No, it is not. It takes too much of your mental space. You are at a place where you cannot reach out to your family or to your parents at the flick of your finger. If you are in a trouble as in the loneliness that you feel. So if your mind and you are not prepared, then don't try to take up a kind of profession which you cannot pursue for your life. It is adventurous, for sure. It is adventurous, but it is not something where it's not worth. It's not worth. Trust me, it is not worth. If you look yourself, you know yourself very well. You know what you are capable of, and nobody would stop you for sure. But at the same time, judge your place accordingly. That if you are looking for your mom and dad every day in the morning, evening, then this is not a place for you. This is not a place for you. This requires that struggle. That it requires that that section, that part of your time, not only from your heart but also from your mind. And I say that for everybody, for a male candidate as well as a female. And definitely a big training is required to the top bosses of any of the organizations who are sitting at the power to please reserve yourself for, let it flow. Let it flow. They will take call on themselves. You are at a place where you can change something. Let that change happen. Let that change happen. Just because you have not seen any women captain or a women chief engineer by yourself doesn't mean there cannot be one. So yeah, that's from my side.
Please, Sanjay.
I'll quickly recap. I know we're short of time. So this I'll also take back in referring to some research that we have done and the research that I have conducted in India on the business case for diversity. So as a business owner, I know that there's a business case, right? It's not just a moral case for diversity. There's a business case for diversity. And nobody, if you tell anybody that their profits or their bottom lines are going to get better, no company is going to then, say we're not going to hire women. So I would approach it from two angles. One, data and research is very important to show that yes, when there's a diverse crew on board, when there's diversity even in the office, teams perform better. There's greater degree of innovation, profitability, and productivity. So that's the line that I would take in convincing companies, because companies then cannot shy away from this, saying that it's not important to us. And the second thing that I would like to say, of course, is these other things also go along with it, creating awareness, giving role models. And I particularly think having more women leaders is key. It's very important because it shows the young women out there that that's what they can achieve. Regarding behaviors, yes, as Sonali said, it will take a long time to change. It's also to do with the science, behavioral insight, which is a science. People have grown up, for example, some people have grown up seeing only women working in the kitchen and not having a career. Suddenly, we are expecting these people to stay women, to accept women. It's not that they are good or bad. There are shades of gray. It's just that that's the normal that they have seen. So it's important to create the awareness, give role models. And yes, as a business owner, I think no company is going to shy down if they say, you know what, if you want to do better, have greater profits, let's get diversity on board. So that is what I think should be done.
Thank you, Sanjam, for bringing out that so beautifully. In fact, all three of you, all your point of views, and I really, really hope that the new generation, the next generation, does draw inspiration from all of your achievements and stories, and reach out to you and are able to pursue a career in the maritime industry.